co-panelists from MAGA world are going to start clutching their pearls over somebody making a mean joke at somebody, then that's like the core to the president of the United States' entire ethos.
It's you guys who get outraged over jokes. That's the difference.
Made it. Excuse me, Dave?
Tim, the difference is that we are not the people who get outraged over every joke and every word and every sort of innuendo. It's you guys who do.
In this video, Dave Rubin joins the panel on Piers Morgan Uncensored. Dave Rubin and the panel discussed Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's recent insulting comments directed towards Texas Governor Greg Abbott. With that, let's watch Dave Rubin take down the entire panel on Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Abbott, who of course is wheelchair bound. Let's take a listen.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot-ass mess, honey.
Tim, not only did she make a crass, repulsive jibe about the fact that Greg Abbott is a disabled man in a wheelchair, and that is clearly indisputable in my eyes, she then did this. She issued a statement saying, I wasn't thinking about the governor's condition. I was thinking about the planes, trains, and automobiles he used to transfer migrants into communities led by black mayors, deliberately stoking tension and fear among the most vulnerable. Literally, the next line I said was he was a hot mess, referencing his terrible policies. At no point did I mention or allude to his condition. So I'm even more appalled that the very people who unequivocally support Trump, a man known for racially insensitive nicknames and mocking those with disabilities, are now outraged. Now, Tim, you're an intelligent human being. You're a fair-minded human being.
Am I?
She's talking utter bullshit, isn't she?
The statement was not necessary or great and obviously untrue. I think she should have just wrote it out with the joke. Everybody can make a judgment about whether they appreciate a joke at Greg Abbott's expense. I find it hard to imagine that my co-panelists from MAGA world are going to start clutching their pearls over somebody making a mean joke at somebody, then that's like the core to the president of the United States' entire ethos.
It's you guys who get outraged over jokes. That's the difference.
Made it. Excuse me, Dave?
Tim, the difference is that we are not the people who get outraged over every joke and every word and every sort of innuendo. It's you guys who do.
Well, so good.
So I'm not outraged at the joke. I'm outraged at the fact that a human rights campaign fundraiser where it's about all the marginalized people and the perceived oppression of the trans people and everything else, that there she's making a joke about disabled people and they're laughing about it. I'm not outraged at the joke. I make far worse jokes than that on my show every single day.
I mean, let me bring in...
So we're slicing it kind of thin there. So we're going to pretend to be outraged about her joke when the president of the United States core brand is making these sort of jokes. So I wouldn't, if I was her, I wouldn't have put out the statement afterwards. If it's me, you know, I don't know. I think that Dave's kind of business model over there, you know, I don't take money from any Russian.
The Democrats really are shameless scumbags. How often when they have nothing left to say, which is most of the time, do Democrats attack Dave Rubin or Tim Pool when they're out of stuff to say? I've talked about it plenty on here. You know, you can think what you want about the matter, but this guy's just a loser who has nothing to... He just has to insult the other person. And clearly he came in there with an agenda, because Dave Rubin's point was, we're not offended. You're the party that clutches pearls all the time. We're just pointing out the hypocrisy. And the guy then, after that answer, continues to say, so they're going to fake outrage. It's like, dude, we just said we're not outraged. We're not sensitive little bitches like all of you. It's just crazy that you all can't take the smallest joke, but when you lob one, it's a big deal. I totally agree. I don't care about jokes. And that's why I'm on the right, because I have a sense of humor. The left doesn't. But their double standards are just, I don't even know why I just said they're double standards. It's just so obvious. I don't even need to articulate that. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Assets, like that's just me. So I'm able to just kind of say what I really think on here with Dave. You never know. So I understand why he might not he might want to pick his spots.
All right. Well, let me
That's
bring
some
in.
great work you're doing at Bulwark, a real solid place of journalism over there.
Well, we
Keep it
haven't
up.
taken
Keep
any
it
money
up.
from the Russians at the Bulwark, Piers. I don't know if you know this, but Dave took
Clown,
$400,000 per month from a Russian information operation, and so you'd understand why.
And what was
Dave Rubin
the
would be
name
upset
of
about
the show
fact
that I did for the
government
Russians? Tell me
right
that.
now is just handing
Tell me
things
that.
over to the Russians. That he has to pretend to be outraged about things. You don't know who's paying the bill.
What was the name of the show I did for the Russians, champ?
It was Tenet Media that paid you. Tenet Media.
What was the name of the show?
Right?
What was the name of the show?
$400,000 per month and a $100,000
What was the name of the
signing
show?
bonus. That not you?
Yeah, you just literally don't know what you're talking about, which is
Was that
standard. You
not
work
you?
for MSNBC and the Bulwark. It's impressive.
All right.
Okay, so that
let's
wasn't
try.
you then. You weren't commentator one in that indictment there, Dave. That wasn't you.
Yeah, I was commentator one. It was nice to read something honest about me, that I did all my due diligence trying to figure out what was going on over there. What was the name of the show? Tell me about the propaganda I put out there.
What was the
name
Tenet
of the
Media
show?
that was paying you? Tenet Media was a Russian.
What was the name of the show?
An RT cutout.
Yeah,
It was a
you
Russian
literally
cutout.
don't know what you're talking about.
An RT
You
cutout.
don't
They
know
were
what
paying
you're
you.
talking
I've never
about,
been
champ.
paid by a Russian cutout, so I don't exactly know how it all works.
You're paid
But,
by MSNBC, which is state-owned propaganda. You're paid by the Bulwark, which should be just called
that's
bullshit.
state-owned
That would be a
propaganda.
better
You know
name
a
of the
little something
network.
about state-owned
Or whatever the hell
propaganda.
it is you people are doing
Could
over
I
there.
jump in on
What
the
was the name
topic?
of the show that I did? What was the name? You don't know.
I've
you
told you
don't
several
know because
times,
you
bro.
don't know what you're saying.
All
Very
right.
impressive.
Let me
told you
wrestle.
several times
Let me
who paid
wrestle
you.
things back. Time out. Let's wrestle things back to the actual.
I'd rather talk about Jasmine Crockett's eyelashes.
Let's
but,
talk about Jasmine Crockett. I want to
Obviously.
bring in Jake here. I mean, Jake, presumably you would condemn both the joke and the statement that was obviously a pack of lies.
Yeah, Piers, I agree with Tim that the outrage Olympics is a little tiresome and rings hollow. I also am an elected official, and I know that what is communicated is not what is said, it's what is heard. And what was heard from her statement did strike me as reflecting the governor's disability. And I don't think that's funny. And that's rule number 1A as a politician is if you're going to make fun of somebody, make fun of yourself. That's what's actually going to get laughs. So I don't think it was an acceptable statement. And I don't think it's acceptable when Trump mocks people with disabilities. I don't want to see Democratic politicians do it either.
And so her statement bit was therefore, by definition, from what you said, a pack of lies, right? In which she played the race card, the Trump card, the disabled card. There wasn't a card she didn't try to play in an effort to deny what we'd all heard with our own ears.
Here's what we should do as a country. We got to stop talking to people based on immutable characteristics and start talking to people as Americans, as individuals with inherent worth and
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
dignity. Focus on what unites us. Focus more on the unum than the pluribus, in e pluribus unum.
Jake,
and stop
Jake,
with
you wouldn't
both
even
the,
have
the
a
hard
party
left
if
and the hard right
the Democrats
hating
didn't
each
divide
other.
people by race, gender, and sexual orientation. You wouldn't even have a party. Your party wouldn't have a platform. So what are you talking about? And I'd love to sound off, honestly, on this issue of Jasmine Crockett, because this is representative of a really pivotal moment in my life. This is why I left the Democratic Party 7, 8 years ago, because I believed the left-wing narrative that Donald Trump had mocked a disabled reporter, which actually turned out to be yet another Democrat Party liberal media lie. We're still talking 8 years later about Donald Trump mocking a disabled reporter, but people want to excuse Jasmine Crockett actually making fun of disabled people when Donald Trump actually wasn't making fun of disabled people. But then, of course,
You're right, Brandon. Donald Trump doesn't make fun of anybody. You're right, man. You nailed it.
Well,
on
let's
that
play
one.
the
You
clip.
nailed the liberal
All right,
media.
let me
It's
play
so
the
obvious.
clip.
Liberal
No,
media
hang on.
is
Hang
out to
on,
get
hang
Trump.
on, hang on,
He's just a
hang
nice
on.
guy.
If
He
it's
never
so
Hang on,
obvious.
I'm going to play the clip. I'm going to play the clip.
Please
Let's
name an example.
Wait, Brandon, let's play the clip. Let viewers remind themselves of what Trump did, talking about a reporter who does indeed have a disability. Let's watch.
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Oh, maybe that's what I said. This is 14 years ago. They didn't do a retraction.
Now, Brandon, Trump did vehemently deny he was mocking the reporter's disability. He has a disability with one of his arms, but he certainly looked like he was, right? And I remember, well, I do remember the Democrats getting very outraged about it. But, you know, to the congressman's point, should we all try and elevate all ships here in the way that we talk about people on a personal level?
Well, hang on, because first of all, you did what the left-wing media does, which is take that moment out of context and assign a false meaning to it. What we haven't talked about is that Donald Trump has done that
just
exact
like
same
January
voice
6th, right, Brandon?
That exact same
January
voice and
6th
that
was
exact
just
same
it was
gesture.
an episode.
All right.
You were just
Sure.
at the Capitol.
We'll talk about a
it was a
4.5-year-old
false narrative
riot
out of
and just-
January 6th.
Yeah,
That's why you have a criminal
great.
conviction.
Actually, I don't. I'm pardoned
Just
for
a false narrative
for
based
my
on,
nonviolent misdemeanor charge for standing outside of the Capitol shooting video. Yes, I've been pardoned for my Class B misdemeanor charge.
So much annoying stuff to respond to there. When Trump was doing that, he wasn't mocking anyone's disability. He even clarified later, it's not what I was doing. Trump has made those gestures before, making fun of someone about something that they said that had nothing to do with a disability. He was just trying to articulate that the guy was flustered and pretending like he didn't remember something that he wrote. So it's just a flat out lie, and they get to use it. And then you notice later, after the one guy's saying, look, Donald Trump never did that, you're taking it out of context. This dumbass on the right, I don't even know who he is, by the way, Tim something, I can't remember his last name. I don't know why he always wears a puka shell necklace. And that hat he's wearing looks like he's never worn a hat in his entire life. What a dork. But he keeps interrupting. And he's like, yeah, Donald Trump's never made fun of anyone. That's not what we're talking about, man. You just brought this thing up that's provably incorrect. So now you have to change it to, well, Donald Trump's never made fun of anyone. Never said that. Your party's the party of outrage. We're just responding in the same manner that you do, you idiot. Then that other dumbass, we need to stop talking about people based on immutable characteristics and start talking to people as Americans. Yeah, the right wing's been doing that. It's funny. It's not funny. It's sad/crazy that you're just learning that now and you claim to be a politician. Your party is all about immutable characteristics. Identity politics were birthed in your party, you loser. These two lefties on this panel are dorks and super irritating. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
But calm down. I'm going to finish my point. Donald Trump has done that exact same voice and that exact same gesture numerous times throughout the years when he was imitating anybody who was flailing because they were caught in a lie. He was making fun of the fact that that reporter who happened to be disabled was flailing because he was caught in a lie. What the left-wing media did was freeze frame a moment from that, put it side by side with that reporter, and say that he was making fun of his disability, which in itself is actually disgusting what the media did. But Donald Trump was not making fun of a disabled reporter. What Jasmine Crockett did was actually make fun of a disabled person and then double down and turn herself into the victim and play the racial identity card instead of apologizing for what she did. And I'd like to know, where's the Democrat Party outrage about this? We're still talking about Donald Trump.
Well,
8 years ago.
to be fair, when it comes to intellectual honesty, both of the left-wing members of the panel have both said it was wrong, and they both said they don't believe her statement. I'm not sure what more you could expect. I was pleasantly surprised to hear that.
Well, Tim didn't really say it was wrong, and Jake said that it was sort of wrong, but that we need to stop playing identity politics in this country.
Well, Tim said
which
her
is literally
statement
the
was a
platform
load of
of his
nonsense, which
entire
I totally
party.
agree with.
Literally his party's platform.
All right, I think we can all agree she was obviously.
I said her statement was nonsense, and I just want to say, maybe me and Elon Musk agree on something. Let's legalize humor. We're really gonna get 5 middle-aged white guys on here just like tisking people over a little joke. I mean, that, like, honestly, like, Jasmine shouldn't have lied about her statement. I appreciate that Congressman Auchincloss says he wouldn't make a statement like that, but this is silly. Isn't the whole point of your guys' platforms that we shouldn't have cancel culture? We shouldn't get so outraged about everything. Like,
nobody's calling.
nobody's
for
calling for
cancel.
cancellation.
Nobody's yelling. We're responding to a question on a TV show.
It's so fake.
Well, the trouble, Tim, is that when I haven't.
Yeah, the whole Jasmine Crockett response thing. The thing that stuck out to me the most is that the fact that she tried to play the victim. I mean, that sounds something like out of a Republican comic book that the evil Democrat villain would do, you know. And just to be clear, you all know that Jasmine Crockett is playing a character, right? Go watch interviews with her prior to her getting into Congress. See how professional, conservatively dressed, and articulate she is compared to the way she acts now every time she's on camera. Someone got a hold of her and said, we want you to play this character because we think it'll connect you with the average American. When the average American is looking like that, like, you just look like a clown up there. But we want to hear from you. What do you all think about the Jasmine Crockett, Greg Abbott thing? What do you think about the responses of these two Democrat idiots on the panel? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.